Shalom, Kol Haloyim, Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahushai Ba'ashem Rachakudash, Shanyakabad, Gadwala Requab, the Kwanyam Nawa, Shalayakim Nawa. That's the belongers to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Shalom, Wabarakim, Labakaryam, Shalayasharala. That's peace and blessings to the elect of Israel. Really quickly, I wanted to make a video concerning this article. It's from CNN. As you can see, it's titled Kim Jong-un wants the world to know he still matters. 7 missile tests in a month may prove it. 7 missile tests all happened in the span of 4 weeks in the first month of this year, 2022. And so this year has been starting off really strong concerning privacy. And I wanted to speak about this specifically because you have a lot going on amongst Israel concerning various topics about the law, about the fringes, and now even this week concerning Elder Abba Bivens and King Masha. But of course, we have to always make sure that we're speaking on privacy, and many edifying videos have been coming out surrounding all of those previously mentioned topics. Edifying videos, a lot of history came out, a lot of good information in general. But I definitely wanted to make sure that as I seen this article the day it came out, the 31st, the Spirit told me to just save it and bring it out when, all in the Spirit, I'll just say, once again, for lack of a better word. So I want to speak on this. We'll watch this entire video. It's about 2 minutes long. And there are some really good points that she makes in this video. And I'm just going to play it straight through. I'm not going to pause it unless the Spirit jumps on me. And then we'll grab some supporting precepts. And I pray that this video is edifying to the elect.
North Korea's weapons and missile tests have evolved in recent years from quantity to quality. We're no longer seeing dozens of tests in fairly quick succession, the likes of which we saw in 2017, for example. Each test now appears to be pushing their capabilities forward in a seemingly more measured way. North Korea claims that it has successfully launched a hypersonic missile, accomplishing one of Kim Jong-un's stated priorities. Exact specifications are unknown, but missiles with hypersonic glide vehicles can theoretically fly as fast as 20 times the speed of sound and can be very maneuverable in flight. This would make it almost impossible to shoot down. Some experts say it could change the military equation in the region. North Korea also says it has successfully launched a ballistic missile from a submarine, a way of getting past the missile defense systems of its neighbors or the United States. But other experts do point out that the quality of their submarines is low, so that threat is not imminent. Test firing a ballistic missile from a train, which enables a missile launch from a mountainous area that would be difficult to predict or track. And intercontinental ballistic missiles that North Korea claims could hit mainland United States. The last one was tested in 2017, but in 2020, a newer, larger ICBM was unveiled at a military parade. Untested as yet, but experts believe it could potentially carry multiple nuclear warheads or decoys, again to get past missile defense systems. No one knows for sure how many nuclear weapons Pyongyang currently possesses. Arms Control Association estimates that it has potentially produced enough fissile material for 40 to 50 nuclear warheads. Now, North Korea remains one of the poorest nations in the world. It is heavily sanctioned by United Nations Security Council resolutions, and yet it still poses a significant threat to the region and to the world. Kim Jong-un himself has called these weapons precious, saying they're needed for self-defense and also for survival, and he is not willing to give them up. He also continues to blame the US for raising tensions in the region.
So he said these missiles are precious and needed for self-defense and survival. Why would he say that? Like I always say, a boxer doesn't just put on gloves, hop into the ring, start sparring, sweating, losing weight, tired, in the gym for hours, hitting the bag, hitting the pads, and just doing this for no reason. That boxer knows that he's preparing for something. And Kim Jong-un here understands that war is imminent. It's on the horizon. It's coming. as tensions are rising between different nations, and he's preparing for war. Why else would he have 7 missile tests in 1 month? And there was so much good information that came out. I mean, they have a missile that they said can go 20 times the speed of sound. And that missile is also maneuverable in the air, making it hard to be shot down by missile defense systems. Also, they've shot missiles from trains and submarines, which make them hard to detect, and once again, to be shot down by defense systems. And then, in 2017, Kim Jong-un shot off an ICBM missile, or he said he has an ICBM missile, rather, that can reach Babylon the Great. Now they tested an even bigger one, a better one, in 2020. So for sure that one is hitting Babylon the Great. So this man is preparing for war, putting all this money into these missiles, and that's biblical prophecy. The first thing I'm going to do is start off in the book of Revelation, chapter 11, verse 14. It says the second woe is past. Now, woe right here represents a great big destruction, and that great big destruction is known as war. World War is what we called it. So World War I passed, World War II passed. And behold, it says, the third woe, meaning the third world war, cometh quickly. And Kim Jong-un and many, many, many other nations well understand that, and they're all preparing as well. This is just significant because Kim Jong-un, or I'll say North Korea, is one of the poorest nations in the world, as that lady mentioned that was speaking in that video. But they're pouring all of their money into what? Missiles. I don't know where I was going. We're going to grab the book of Joel, the 3rd chapter, just to highlight that. Joel chapter 3, verses 9 and 10, it says, proclaim ye this among the Gentiles. Prepare war. Prepare war. Like that analogy I mentioned about that boxer that's preparing for a big fight. Yeah, Kim Jong-un is preparing for that third world war, the third woe. Prepare war. Wake up the mighty men. Let all the men of war draw near. Let them come up. Beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. So basically, these agriculture instruments are not a necessity anymore. Farming, food, we'll just say, just to keep it very brief. No more is that like the number one, I'll just say thing on the totem pole, for lack of a better word or phrase. Now these nations, and specifically North Korea, is saying, you know what? What's most important is security, the safety of our nation, defense, and that means that we have to pour our money into the sword, spears, aka these nuclear missiles, a killing instrument, a killing weapon now. So beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. And that's North Korea. Years ago, they didn't have this, I'll just call it technology. They didn't have these weapons of war. They didn't have these nuclear missiles, the capability for a missile to go 20 times the speed of sound. They weren't shooting off ICBMs from trains like what would say 20 years ago. They weren't doing that. That's how we know that we're living in the time in which war is being prepared and it's imminent. This is very important, once again, because this is biblical prophecy. Now that we know war is coming, we believe in the scriptures, we see it playing out here on earth. What is our job? Our job is to be of holy conversation, to be separate in our conduct and in our behavior. Our job is now to prepare ourselves, prepare our minds and our spirits for the coming day of Yahweh, the Heavenly Father, Bahashem, in the name of Yahweh Shai, His only begotten Son. Our job is to make sure that our spirits are prepared for His coming now. That's how all of this ties together. Now what I'm going to do is jump over to the 2nd chapter And I'm not going to read the entire chapter. You can start at verse 1 if you would like. Basically, this is going into the appearance. I read verse 4. This is going into an analogy referring to these nuclear missiles. We're going to start at verse 4 just because I want to hit a few points after that. So Joel chapter 2 verse 4, it says, the appearance of them is as. Whenever you see that word as, then a comparison is being made. So this is an analogy. The appearance of them is as the appearance of horses, and as horsemen, so shall they run. So the missiles are being compared to horsemen. And horses basically represent power. Like in a vehicle has horsepower. And that represents how strong I believe the engine is. Don't quote me, I'm not a car enthusiast. But that's what these missiles right here are being likened unto. Horses. And as horsemen, so shall they run. So very powerful. Verse 5, it says, like the noise of chariots on the tops of mountains shall they leap. An analogy once again. Like the noise of a flame of fire that devoureth the stubble, as a strong people set in battle array. All referring to the nuclear missiles. Before their face, the people shall be much pained. All faces shall gather blackness. They shall run like mighty men. They shall climb the wall like men of war, and they shall march every one on his ways, and they shall not break their ranks. They're all going to be set in battle array. Neither shall one thrust another, because the Lord is going to be guiding all of these missiles over here to Babylon the Great. Neither shall one thrust another. They shall walk every one in his path. And when they fall upon the sword, this is the point right here that I wanted to make. And when they, talking about the missiles, fall upon the sword, what does that mean? When the missiles fall upon the sword, let's keep reading. It says, they shall not be wounded. So let's break it down. It says, neither shall one thrust another. They shall walk every one in his path. So they're going to be set in array. The Spirit of the Lord is going to be guiding these missiles to their destination. And when they, the nuclear missiles, fall upon the sword right there represents the nuclear defense systems. That's what the sword is talking about, the nuclear defense systems. And when they, the missiles, fall upon the sword, the nuclear defense systems, they, the missiles, shall not be wounded. And we're seeing that right now. In that article, the video rather, what did it say? It says that North Korea now has missiles that can go 20 times the speed of sound. And they're also maneuverable in flight, which is going to make them hard to be stopped by those nuclear defense systems. On top of that, they're shooting missiles from submarines. They're shooting missiles from trains, which make them hard to be detected. So once again, when the missiles fall upon the sword, they're not going to be wounded. They're going to get past those nuclear defense systems, and they're going to be guided and reach their destination, which is Babylon the Great. I'm going to keep reading. It says, as a matter of fact, I'll grab a quick precept that I'm holding based upon that point, 2 Ezra 16. And this is verse 13. It says, verse 13, it says, for strong is his right hand that bendeth the bow. His arrows that he shooteth are sharp, and shall not miss. Once again, they're going to be set in battle array. They're not going to thrust one another. When they begin to be shot into the ends of the world. So this isn't talking about your regular average bow and arrow. No man, I don't care how strong this man is, he's not shooting a bow from one end of the earth unto the other. This is talking about nuclear missiles. They shall not miss when they begin to be shot into the ends of the world. They're going to evade and maneuver properly in flight through those nuclear defense systems. And they're going to reach their target here, Babylon the Great. It's good stuff in this chapter, but I want to jump back. I want to jump back. Joel chapter 2. And we read verse 8. They shall not be wounded. So verse 9. They shall run to and fro in the city. They shall run upon the walls. They shall climb up upon the houses. They shall enter in at the windows like a thief. The earth shall quake before them. Because all the missiles that are going to be shot over here are going to create a huge earthquake. The earth shall quake before them. The heavens shall tremble. The sun and the moon shall be dark because of how many missiles are going to be shot. And the stars shall withdraw their shining. And the Lord shall utter his voice before his army, for his camp is very great. For he is strong that executeth his word. For the day of the Lord is great and very terrible, and who can abide it? And only the elect are going to be able to stand strong in that day through the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. And this is the day that we're looking forward to. And this is what it means, what is meant by salvation. Nobody on earth has already been saved because the destruction hasn't happened. So what have you been saved from? Now it's cool. Nothing is wrong with proclaiming and believing that you'll be saved. But of course, everything is Lord's will. We believe through hope. We have faith in Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai that through us doing his will, then we'll receive salvation, meaning we'll be delivered from this upcoming nuclear destruction. That's what is meant by salvation. That's what it's meant to be saved. So I like keeping my videos kind of short, and I believe this made the point that was brought out in this article right here. Just wanted to go through those quick few precepts. War is imminent, it's on the horizon, but remember, of course, there are some other huge, big prophecies that still need to happen before this final showdown occurs. One in which is the MOB, that charagma. It needs to be made mandatory, and I'm going to keep it right there. I'm not going to mention too much on that because, of course, our videos are now being clipped left and right. But that charagma, the MOB, it's going to be pushed heavily and made mandatory before World War III breaks out, which is basically the final prophecy. So call Haloyim, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rachakwadash. Double honors to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings to the elect. Shalom.